Did you hear? We're getting a new student today. Zach Sire chittered excitedly, his antennae twitching in anticipation. Glox rolled all 7 of her eyes simultaneously, an expression that never failed to impress or annoy her classmates. We get new students all the time, Zach. What's so special about this one? It's not just any student, Zach whispered, lowering his voice to a conspiratorial hum. It's a human. The silence that followed could have stilled a star. You might have heard a flurb moth flap its wings on the far side of the galaxy. Then, right on cue, the classroom exploded into squeals, gasps, and one alarmed honk from Borbax, who promptly turned a blotchy shade of chews. A human? Glock said, voice dripping with disbelief. As in, a Deathworlder? Here? In our gym class? Zach nodded gravely, clearly relishing his role as bearer of apocalyptic news. Heard Principal Zorblat talking to Coach Slimebucket. Some sort of cultural exchange program. More like. How many alien kids can we traumatize in a semester, muttered Glupax. Just then, the gym doors creaked open with galactic theatricality. In walked, no, sauntered, the most terrifying creature any of them had ever seen. The human was human-shaped, which was alarming enough, 2 symmetrical legs, 2 efficient arms, 1 head, with hair. Actual hair. It glistened. It moved independently. It was horrifying. Hey there, the human called, cheerful and oblivious to the wave of terror washing through the gym. I'm Jake. Jake Armstrong. Nice to meet you all. Coach Slimebucket, a translucent gelatinous mass with a permanently embedded whistle, oozed forward. Yes, class. This is our new exchange student from Earth. Jake, would you like to say a few words? Jake grinned, revealing a row of impossibly white, disturbingly uniform teeth. Several students activated their emergency force fields. Sure. I'm Jake. I'm 17 Earth years old, about 0.03 galactic standard years, I think. I'm from a planet called Earth. You might know it as Deathworld, 3? Though, gotta say, that name makes us sound way cooler than we really are. He chuckled. Blowbacks turned green, purple, then translucent. I've always loved alien cultures. When I heard about the exchange program, I signed up immediately. How often do you get to attend gym class in another solar system? The alien stared. Did he just use excited and gym class in the same sentence? Coach Slimebucket made a gurgling sound and twitched. Those who knew him well recognized it as his attempt at a nod. Thank you, Jake. Join the others. We're beginning our annual fitness assessment. Jake strolled to the group. The other students parted like the red nebulae. Coach Slimebucket gurgled, first, the standard endurance test. 3 laps around the gym. On my whistle. Preet. The whistle cut the air like a plasma blade. Students launched into various modes of locomotion. Zorp scuttled on 16 legs, Glack oozed along in AR. Jake stepped to the highest bar, deep blue glow, maximum gravity. He grasped it and began. His arms bulged. Veins surfaced. Sweat glistened. He dropped, landing like a feather. That was awesome. How'd I do, Coach? The whistle clattered to the floor. Coach reassembled his mouth. That was unexpected. You broke the school record. In fact, you more than doubled it. Jake lit up. Cool. Who had the record? I did, Slimebucket admitted, his form possibly blushing. Back when I was a small primordial puddle. Jake grinned. Respect. You must have been incredible. Coach quivered. Yes, well. Moving on. Flexibility. Holographic rings floated at odd angles. Zorp twisted through with arthropodal agility. Glupax morphed into mist and drifted. Blowbacks inflated and absorbed them whole. Jake? He leapt, twisted, bent, flipped. Woo! Like Twister, but in 3D. Glox murmured, Is he supposed to bend like that? He defies physics, Zixarp whispered. As the whistle blew, Jake landed effortlessly. What's next? Coach wobbled. Reaction time. Hand-eye coordination. Training phases. Blinking holographic targets hovered midair. The students picked up phasers. Zorp dual-wielded with decent accuracy. Glack fired through an eye stalk. Blawbacks inhaled his and began sneezing light. Jake inspected his. Nice design. Kinda like an old Nintendo Zapper. Preet. He fired. Targets disappeared in rapid bursts. He pivoted, spun, crouched. Every shot perfect. He hit a moving decoy mid-flip. Final score, off the charts. Coach stared at the datapad, gelatinous jaw agape. Jake, you've shattered every record. In one session. Jake laughed, wiping sweat. Guess Earth PE was good for something, huh? The class stood silent. Somewhere in the corner, Blowback quietly deflated. Glocks muttered, we're not going to survive the semester, are we? Zorp whispered, not if he joins the dodgeball team. Jake Armstrong had always thought his skills with a phaser were decent, good enough to impress at the occasional family laser tag outing. But now, standing in the middle of an alien gym surrounded by species he couldn't name without a cheat sheet, he was starting to think his Earth hobbies might be a bit more intense than expected. Coach Slimebucket, a translucent glob of sentient gelatin, gave a whistle, more of a high-pitched chirrup through a vibratory orifice. That was Jake's cue. Jake stepped up to the firing line. He raised the phaser, exhaled, and waited for the go signal. The shrill sound had barely faded when Jake sprang into action. What followed could only be described as a ballet of ballistic brilliance. He ducked, spun, rolled, and even performed a mid-air flip, all while hitting target after target with pinpoint accuracy. The gym fell silent but for the rhythmic beeping of destroyed targets. As the final target disappeared in a shimmer of light and his score blazed across the holographic scoreboard, Jake lowered his phaser, a slight frown on his face. I think I missed one in the upper left quadrant. My bad. Coach Slimebucket's whistle fell from his mouthpiece, clattering to the floor. Missed, the coach burbled weakly. Jake's score wasn't just a new record, it was nearly triple the previous high, held by a four-armed Zorgan military officer with independently targeting eyes. Holy subspace anomaly, Zixarp muttered, his antennae drooping in disbelief. How is that even possible? Glocks, watching with all 7 of her eyes, slowly shook her head. I'm starting to think possible doesn't apply to humans. They are like glitches in the universe. Blorb, who had been hiccuping light beams from anxiety, turned a shade of existential dread blue. Jake seemed oblivious to the cosmic reverberations of his marksmanship. Coach, these phasers are way more accurate than laser tag guns back home. Think we could mod the beam spread? Maybe go shotgun style. Coach Slimebucket twitched. The gelatin around his core flickered. Wrong? No, Mr. Armstrong. You just significantly exceeded expectations. Jake beamed. Oh, cool. I was worried I might be rusty. Back home, I usually practice with my dad's old M1.45 ACP. Got a lot more kick than these. Blank stares. Jake continued. You know, my grandpa was a trick shooter in the rodeo circuit. Ever seen someone shoot a playing card edge on at 50 paces? A collective shudder ran through the room. Right, maybe another time. So what's next, Coach? This is way more fun than Earth PE. Coach Slimebucket hesitated. Up next is the combat simulation. But perhaps, given the intensity of your performance, we should skip. Combat simulation? That sounds awesome. Is it like a holodeck or VR? Ooh, we're using phasers again. Jake's enthusiasm was completely sincere. And completely terrifying. Coach Slimebucket sighed, his body rippling in what might have been resignation. Very well. We'll begin the galactic peace negotiation scenario. A diplomatic simulation, No weapons. A chorus of relieved sighs echoed from the alien students. Jake deflated slightly, then perked up again. Diplomacy. Sweet. That's a battlefield of wits. And I've been binging Galactic C-SPAN, so I'm totally ready. The holo arena shimmered to life, transforming into a gleaming galactic conference chamber. Jake was assigned the role of ambassador from the Zorian Empire. Towering, insectoid, and metallically regal, his opponent greeted him. Greetings, Ambassador, rumbled Sorblik, representative of the Free Planets. Jake bowed awkwardly. Greetings, representative. Nice robe, Arcturian mere silk. Stunning. You know, we once wore pants so low they violated Newtonian physics. Coach Slimebucket blinked what could generously be called an eyelid. Somehow, Jake's conversation about fashion segued into textile trade routes, then tariff codes, then galactic commerce. And that's why a 15% reduction on non-ionic goods would benefit both economies, Jake concluded. Plus, have you seen those fuzzy Baljevian pets? Phase through walls. Total market potential. Sorblik was silent for a beat. Then, your proposal is unexpected, but intriguing. Shall we discuss over a land slime tea? Heck yes. Mildly psychoactive for carbon-based life forms, right? PTA meetings back home could really use that. Back on the sidelines, alien students stared. Zix whispered, he just avoided an incident, proposed a trade alliance, and launched a galactic fashion critique. Glox nodded. They are not just strong. They are smart. By the end of the simulation, Jake had drafted a peace treaty, opened interstellar markets, introduced the concept of casual Fridays, proposed a galaxy-wide talent show. Coach Slimebucket signaled the session's end, his body vibrating with exhausted admiration. Mr. Armstrong, your performance was unexpected. Thanks, Coach. We doing interstellar speed dating next? Got some great ideas. As the class left, Zorp approached. That was impressive. I've never seen someone negotiate like that. Jake shrugged. Back on Earth we say, speak softly and carry a big stick. I never understood the stick part. Why not a wrench? Or one of those giant foam fingers? Zorp nodded slowly. Common ground, like fashion in a trade meeting. Exactly. You never know what breaks the ice. I once ended a fight by complimenting a guy's shoes. We started a sneaker club. Jake continued chatting as they walked, gesturing animatedly. And that's why the Galactic Senate needs a pizza party. Cheesy goodness brings everyone together. Though, we'd need non-dairy options for lactose-intolerant species. Vegan cheese in space? That's a market. Just then, commotion. A massive gang of bioluminescent alien students were surrounding a much smaller one. Zorp froze. The Drade gang. We should. Too late. Jake was already striding over. Hey. Everything okay here? The Drade leader, bristling with claws and neon menace, snarled. Walk away, soft skin. Jake's grin widened. Soft skin? Love it. We exfoliate for that. You guys exfoliate? Try a mud mask. Great for stress. The gang blinked in confusion. Their menace faltered. You're not afraid of us? Nah. I'm excited to meet you. You remind me of this Earth band, the Luminous Lizards. Ever considered music? Glow-in-the-dark concerts would be amazing. They were so disarmed they started asking him questions. By the time Coach Slimebucket arrived, the former bullies were crowded around Jake, discussing drum machines and the complexities of rhythm in zero gravity. Coach's log. Day 3 of the Human Exchange Program. Mr. Armstrong has broken all records, upended centuries of diplomatic protocol, and befriended the school's most dangerous gang using skincare tips and music trivia. Conclusion: humanity may be the single most chaotic and effective force for peace this galaxy has ever seen. Zorp froze. The Droid gang. We should. Too late. Jake was already striding over. Hey? Everything okay here? The droid leader, bristling with claws and neon menace, snarled. Walk away, soft skin. Jake's grin widened. Soft skin? Love it. We exfoliate for that. You guys exfoliate? Try a mud mask. Great for stress. The gang blinked in confusion. Their menace faltered. You're not afraid of us? Nah. I'm excited to meet you. You remind me of this Earth band, the Luminous Lizards. Ever considered music? Glow-in-the-dark concerts would be amazing. They were so disarmed they started asking him questions. By the time Coach Slimebucket arrived, the former bullies were crowded around Jake, discussing drum machines and the complexities of rhythm in zero gravity. Coach's log. Day 3 of the Human Exchange Program. Mr. Armstrong has broken all records, upended centuries of diplomatic protocol, and befriended the school's most dangerous gang using skincare tips and music trivia. Conclusion: humanity may be the single most chaotic and effective force for peace this galaxy has ever seen. My bad, I didn't mean to interrupt, Jake said, holding up his hands innocently. It's just, where I come from, when you see a bunch of tough-looking folks surrounding someone smaller, it usually means there's about to be a dance-off or something. I got excited. You guys know how to break dance. The silence that followed was so absolute that Zorp could have sworn he heard the distant wheeze of blowback vents releasing somewhere in the ceiling. Finally, the droid leader spoke, its voice modulated with a strange mixture of confusion and reluctant intrigue. You are a strange creature, soft skin. What did you say your species was? Jake grinned. Human. Name's Jake. And you are? ZTH, the droid replied automatically. Leader of the... Wait, why am I telling you this? Jake clapped his hands with mock excitement. ZTH. Great name. Very exotic. So, ZTH, my new shiny friend, what do you say we head to the cafeteria? I'm dying to try some alien cuisine. You guys have tacos in space? Maybe some bioluminescent sushi. The dragonoids exchanged glances. The tension melted into confusion, then amusement, then hunger. ZTH blinked slowly, as if unsure how they'd ended up here. I suppose we could eat. Awesome. Jake exclaimed. He turned to the smaller alien who had been the original target. Hey. I'm Jake. Wanna join us? I've got a billion questions about alien food. Like, do you guys do spicy? Because let me tell you about the time I ate a ghost pepper and hallucinated a conversation with Elvis. As the group made their way to the cafeteria, Zorp watched, utterly stunned. In the span of minutes, this human had disarmed a standoff, befriended a notorious gang, and started a lunch party. By the gaseous clouds of Nebula Prime, Zorp muttered. We may have underestimated the power of these Deathworlders. Lunch with a side of anomaly. When Jake and his mismatched entourage walked into the cafeteria, all conversation stopped. Students from over 100 star systems stared, jaws agape, or mandibles clattering. A human? Laughing with the droid gang? So anyway, Jake continued, unconcerned, I think hot sauce could solve at least 60% of diplomatic crises. You ever try arguing with someone while your face is on fire? It's basically impossible. ZTH nodded slowly, his bioluminescent scales pulsing in polite bewilderment. Oh, what's this? Jake pointed at a dispenser labeled in several alien languages, quantum quiche. Is it like regular quiche but with more uncertainty? A nearby Voltrax student, a shimmering jellyfish-like creature, floated closer. Careful, human. Quantum quiche can cause temporal distortions. Glooper ate some last week and believed she was her own grandmother. Temporal distortions? That's amazing. Jake's eyes lit up. I wonder if I can eat this before a test and study it from the future. Before anyone could intervene, Jake scooped a glowing, semi-translucent slice and took a big bite. Time hiccuped. Jake's eyes widened. His body flickered, shifting between ages, outfits, and even dimensions. He spoke rapidly, in Latin, future slang, and binary. He flickered in and out of visibility, bearded, clean-shaven, mohawked, holographic. Fascinating, Jake whispered, his voice echoing from different points in time. I can see the birth of stars, the death of universes, and, Mr. Fluffles? My childhood hamster? Hi, buddy. The cafeteria stared in awe as Jake experienced the entirety of time. Then, with a soft pop, he returned to normal. Phew. That was intense, he said, wiping his mouth. Did anyone else see the part with the Vogons trying to demolish Earth for a hyperspace bypass? Just me? Cool. ZTH's scales flashed in existential dread. You just consumed a temporal anomaly and survived. How are you functioning? Jake shrugged and grabbed another slice. This? Phut. You should see what happens when you eat gas station sushi on Earth. Now that's a trip. Galactic Curiosity and the Human Paradox. By the end of lunch, Jake was surrounded by students from across the galaxy. They listened, horrified yet fascinated, as he compared quantum quiche to Earth's daylight savings time, jet lag, and binge-watching entire TV seasons. And that's why we should introduce pizza time to the Galactic Standard Calendar, Jake said as the bell rang. If we're going to mess with space-time, we might as well add some cheesy goodness. Principal Zorblat, an amorphous, semi-transparent administrator, oozed into the room. Mr. Armstrong. I've received reports about your first day. Jake beamed. Oh yeah. Jim was wild. I made friends with a droid gang, averted a fight, and also bent causality with lunch. 10 out of 10 day. Zorblat blinked his eye stalks. Perhaps we should discuss some safety protocols. Absolutely. Jake said. I have so many ideas. Ever considered a galactic ultimate frisbee league? Or a cross-dimensional bake sale? My grandma's apple pie could solve wars. As Jake continued rambling about building unity through sports and baked goods, Zorblat floated silently, his gooey form quivering. Coach Slimebucket oozed in behind him. Zorblat turned. Coach. I think we may have accidentally started a revolution. Coach's whistle twitched. Indeed, sir. But admit it, it's the most exciting day this school's had in 1,000 millennia. Around them, species that hadn't spoken in eons were laughing, debating food, and discussing Jake's suggestion to host an interstellar karaoke contest. Zorblat sighed. Mr. Armstrong. Would you be willing to give a presentation at the next school assembly? Jake nearly exploded with excitement. Absolutely. I already have a plan. We open with a CHA slide across realities and end with a motivational speech delivered while skydiving through Saturn's rings. As Jake bounded off to plan, Zorblat stared after him. Despite violating basic physics and logic, this human had brought joy, unity, and unrelenting chaos. Maybe, just maybe, the galaxy needed more of that. And somewhere, far away in quantum space, Mr. Fluffles, time-traveling hamster, squeaked in agreement.